What's up, guys? Today is part 2 of My Mom Left My Dad for a Stranger on the Internet. If you haven't seen part 1, you can check it out in the description below. I hope you're having a great day. Let's jump into it. This is a continuation of what happened after Clara sent my dad the divorce papers. Eventually, people started to see that she was with another man while she was married. People talked, especially at school and amongst our friends. I refused to reply to anyone who said stuff about my family. There were also rumors that my dad was broke. That's why she left him. I could see that it was affecting my sister when people who she refused to identify said that she would turn out just like my mother. Eventually, both Clara and my dad's families had a meeting because, well, my mom wanted a divorce, but my dad did not want one. He said the reason why he did not want a divorce was that there was no prenup, and even though she was in the wrong, he would have to pay alimony to her. Even though he said that I could see that, my father was not over her and he still loved her. But his woman did not care. She was brutal. I knew the outcome of the family meeting because of the rumors that started around town, that my dad beat my mom when they were together. People started harassing my father, calling at odd hours of the day just to insult him. It did not matter to them that my dad has always been a kind, respectful, and mild-tempered man who's helped many people in the family. The hardest thing for me to come to terms with was that my grandparents took her side. They knew that my father would never lay a hand on Clara, but they were the ones spreading nonsense about her. Both of them are supposed to have a retirement a long time ago, but they occasionally teach at my high school. They're also very important members of the governing body and have a lot to say at the school. They use the influence they have in the community to ruin my father's reputation. Teachers started giving me funny looks and if everything was fine at home, and asking if my father was a violent man. I told them immediately. My father was a good man, Clara was a liar and a cheater. I told them to keep on believing her, but I wanted no part in defaming my father, who had been through so much. When the school tried to bring in counselors to question my sister and me, both of us refused to talk to them, or give them anything to use against my father as ammunition. We decided to do the little that we could to protect my father's reputation, even though he could not leave the house anymore without being insulted and called a wife-beater. This was worsened by the church publicly shaming my dad. Because of my grandparents' involvement, fake people who wanted to do the quote Lord's work offered to pray for Miriam and me as well as to remove us from Dad's care, and well, that scared me. I did not want to leave my dad to stay with my mom or with any stranger, but because of the rumors about my dad, who was losing friends every single second, he got suspended from work because of the allegations, even though my mom did not press charges. I knew she would never press charges because she was lying, and her family was helping her to make sure my dad lost all that he had, and this was just unfair. I hated her even more because of how selfish she was. Well, this went on for 4 months after my mom gave my dad the papers to sign. He ended up signing them, and when he signed them, I hoped the nightmare would have been over. She would leave us alone and we would not have to hear from her ever again. Unfortunately, my dad now had to pay a lot of money to her for alimony and also give her a lot of money in a settlement because, well, she's not working. Before my dad kicked her out, she'd been working a part-time job, but my father was the one paying the bills. And now she did not have a job, so my father had to pay her. Never mind the fact that Richard had a business and could afford to take care of her if he wanted. Not only that, but she dared to try to get full custody of Miriam. I knew she wanted to get back at myself and Dad by doing that. She also tried to play the victim of abuse card in court, but that was soon dismissed when she could not even provide one single strain of evidence that it happened. It did not help her case that Miriam and I supported father. Even though she did not get custody of my sister, she got her for 1 day a month. As for myself, I don't have to see her if I don't want to. And well, I really don't want to. The divorce, it was messy. Very difficult for my dad, both financially and emotionally, but at least soon after that, he was able to get back to work and keep himself busy. Much to my annoyance, I saw my mom and her new boyfriend nearly every day because they moved to the same neighborhood as us, using my father's money. They were all over social media posting about how happy they were and that they wanted to get married. It was disgusting to see the way she was conducting herself on social media with this man and how people were so amused by it. I could see that some people laughed at my dad for having his wife taken away from him by a younger man, and well, that's just not fair. I did not want to, but I followed their relationship on social media, mainly because of him. I met him several times when my sister was at their house, and I did not like him one bit. The guy was creepy. Just shaking hands with him gave me the chills, and I did not like the way he looked at my sister. I couldn't describe it, it was just inappropriate, and soon I started to notice something about him. I saw that even though he pretended to be oh so in love with Clara, he commented on other women's pictures and liked them on social media. Most of the people that he followed were women, and he was always in their comment sections, ooglooing goggoing. Did my mother not see that this man was probably using her for the money? As far as I knew, he was not working. Apparently, he had some sort of business that no one had ever seen, but she did not seem to care that he was commenting on pictures of younger women. I started to hear about him making moves now on other women, and I thought that after hearing that my mother would choose to break up with him, but she still stayed with him as if nothing was happening. Everyone could see this guy was a creep and using her, and my father was not the bad person of the story. Slowly, my dad began to regain his good reputation, while Mom, she was just falling deeper into Richard's trap. And then this animal decided to go too far. I would have wiped him off the face of this planet if I was given the chance. He proved that he was nothing but trash, absolute basura. I said that my sister had to go to my mom's house at least once a month, right? Well, she and I were not getting along those days because my mom was spoiling her, and she seemed to be falling for it. I was so angry at her that I did not notice that her confidence was decreasing until one day, when she refused to go to my mom's house when Richard came to pick her up. Not knowing what was happening, I was mean to her and told her to go since she wanted to be Mom's favorite little child these days. I'm still so sorry for saying that to my sister because I did not know what was happening to her. Anyways, she threw a fit, told me that she really did not want to go, she begged. But I told Richard to leave because she's not going anywhere. He got aggressive, very aggressive with me, and told me to stay out of Clara and Miriam's relationship. I told him to leave, otherwise I'll call the cops on him. If my sister wanted nothing to do with him, then he should just respect it. I was not a big fan of the idea of my sister going to visit them anyways. But that stupid divorce settlement gave Clara that little bit of custody to see my sister once a month. When he left, I went to check on her, and I found her crying. I asked what was wrong and if that lowlife ever touched her. She just took out her phone and showed me text with an unsaved number that she's blocked. The texts were dating back 2 days ago. They were very creepy text messages, calling her beautiful, and the further down I scrolled, the angrier I became. He was making passes at my sister, and she was telling him to stop. I asked her why she did not tell me and Dad immediately, and if he's ever tried anything with her. She said, well, he's been over-friendly, but kept his hands to himself so far. It was just a few days ago that he started complimenting her. It got worse when he texted her at night, making advances. She was scared that if she let me and Dad know, we would be very stressed and there would be more fighting in the family. I was furious to find out that he had the guts to make moves on my sister. She's 14 years old, for goodness sake, and he's so old and disgusting. I went to my dad and Clara with the text and told them what Miriam said. My father was so angry. He wanted to get his hands on Richard, but my mom, who I thought would pick her daughter over the stranger, took a side. Even though she could see the text, she made stupid excuses and blamed my sister, who did nothing. While they were arguing over what her boyfriend/fiance did, he had the guts to come and pick Clara up. As soon as my dad saw him, he went crazy. He punched him square in the nose. Some people who were at the neutral cafe we were all gathered at tried to restrain my dad, but he managed to get a few good hits in left-right punch uppercut. Then he told Richard that if he ever contacted his children again, he would kill him. The tough guy that Richard pretended to be quickly disappeared after that. He was trembling by the time the two of them left. I was tempted to go after him one more time, but I didn't want to cause more of a scene. After that, my sister stopped going there. Well, to hell with the stupid verdict of the court. I was glad that at least she would not get to spend even 1 hour with Richard. I was so disappointed in myself as a brother for not fighting harder for her, not to have to go in the first place. I absolutely hated the sight of them and just wanted them to leave. He was a very creepy man and made everyone feel uncomfortable. Anyone could see that he had a wandering eye, just from the stuff that he commented on social media. He set himself up. When I still cared, I shared the screenshots with my mother, telling her to be very careful of that man. He was a danger to her, but now she didn't even want to speak to me. She was ignoring me. Her family was also blind of how creepy this man truly was, and invited him to family events. Anyone who tried to speak up against him was silenced. Her mom and dad were the worst because of their influence that they have as veteran teachers and church members of the community. Those people, that entire family is a bunch of hypocrites. I want nothing to do with them. Till today, the only family that I have is my dad's side, who have tried their hardest to be there for us throughout this situation. Even though they did not live close, who they did try to offer their support. Some people might see my dad as a bad person who did not appreciate her, but I know the truth. When, suddenly, Richard left her and took all her stuff. It was not a surprise to my father and me. It was a week before their wedding. She was on cloud 9 and boasting to everyone that would hear that she's getting married to her soulmate. Little did we know that she had paid for everything. He didn't even contribute $1. Whatever business he claimed to have that brought in money was fake, and he was using my mom to finance his lifestyle. Then, while she was still fooled, thinking that she was going to get married to him, he took all their money from the bank and just disappeared. And you would think that finally she would wake up, right? That she would realize that the man did not love her, that he was some sort of scammer or sociopath. She did not want to accept that he left her. She was in fact thinking that he was just missing or kidnapped by his business rivals. She was thinking up a romance novel that even Miriam could never dream of. Even if he really was kidnapped, then why were all her money and valuable things gone? People tried to tell her that she's been scammed, but she called those people liars and said that he was going to come back. It was sad, truly sad to see that she's been ghosted by a man she's left us for. Karma. It was deserved. Forgiveness is for most people, but not for me. She's caused so much pain to our family, broken my father's heart, and put my sister in danger, and allowed her to be closer to a creepy man. She's not the mother who raised me, who was kind, selfless, and loyal to father. Whatever she turned into was something that's not related to me, and I stand by those words. When I say she lost everything, I mean that truly. She's at rock bottom, but she doesn't want to admit it. All those friends, rich friends that she spent all her money with, are now nowhere to be found, and now she's suffering collecting food stamps. Even that house that they, quote, bought together turned out to be a rental with no money, no job, and having a burnt bridge with everyone who tried to warn her. She's alone. But she does not want to accept that it was not real, and what really is that he left her. How pathetic. She acts as if he'll come back one day and they'll get married because he is truly her soulmate. It's been about 3 months since he left, and she's living in a crappy apartment downtown and living on part-time jobs, but I think she's starting to go crazy. My father does not want me to talk to her, but my sister and I end up hearing what she's been up to anyways because of just how embarrassing she is. I'm so ashamed that she's the one who gave birth to me. People look at me with pity and laughter. Behind my backs, they laugh because they say I have a crazy mom. She still has that engagement ring, which is the only thing that he left her with, and she still wears it. Anyone who tries to tell her that, well, he's never coming back, is instantly reprimanded, and what is said, who knows what's going to happen to her. But as long as she stays away from our family, I truly don't care what happens to her. I knew this would happen, but she doesn't listen. What do I know anyways? I'm just a kid, as she likes to say. Well, I do not know that her creep of a boyfriend used her and dumped her now is going to move on to someone else. Well, guys, I think what we're seeing is a classic case of karma. It did not matter how much Clara loved her new love of her life. She got ghosted, and it makes me wonder, did she deserve that? A lot of commenters are saying, yes, indeed, Clara deserved that, but I want to know from you guys. Do you think Clara deserved to be going to the psych ward? And also just basically losing her mind after the love of her life ghosted her. Drop your comments down below. If you're not subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing. You can check the description below for all the channels that I offer for even more daily content. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Have a wonderful day.